right? Octave is a free tool which is compatible with MATLAB codes and everything. So if you have M5, you can run those codes on Octave unhindered, uninterrupted, and it is a very beautiful tool, and it's really good when it comes to open source software and everything, because MATLAB is proprietary software. So when we go for Octave, it is free, open source, so you can always use Octave in place of MATLAB for doing a lot of experiments, a lot of projects, and a lot of packages are available to download Octave. So you should go to Google, search for GNU Octave. GNU Octave. You can go to the website GNU Octave. So if you read it, it is simple, powerful mathematics oriented syntax with built-in plotting and visualization tools. Free software, and that's the important. Free software runs on every known operating system, may it be Linux, Mac, or Windows, and drop-in compatible with MATLAB scripts. That's the most important advantage of it. So for getting latest version of GNU Octave, you can click on the download button, and as per your operating system, you can go. So mine was Windows, so I have downloaded this one, and I have a 64-bit machine, so I have downloaded Octave 5.20 on Windows 6 for installer, so which is around 300 MB. Now after installation, so if you want to know what are different packages are installed, so packages are nothing but the toolboxes. Okay, in MATLAB we know them as toolboxes. So this is again the, if you after installation, this is somehow look like this. So again the interface may be not colorful, but it is almost same. It is almost same as MATLAB. This is command window, this is my workspace, this is my command history. Workspace means where the variable, or which you know as variable window in MATLAB. Okay, so the codes are exactly going to the same. So suppose what are the packages are installed. So if I write package and list, so I will get a list of packages or list of toolboxes which come inbuilt, right? So package name, so I have Arduino package installed, I have a communication installed, data smoothing, and everything. So but the most important we are going to run is this package. This is the most important package which we are going to run it, right? The signal package. So because all of our, as this is a signal processing laboratory, most of our experiments are compatible with this package. So anytime you want to run a code which is related to signal processing, the command is pretty simple. So package load signal. So this will load signal processing package for me. Now anything I run from my editor window or command window is going to run my signal processing commands. Now this same line you can include in front of your program also, not an issue. So I have given here, so whatever program I am going to run over here, it is going to give me the same answer. So let's understand something. So suppose I want to design, I want to perform some operation, some basic operation on Octave. So let's familiarize Octave with some basic operations. So I have pre-written some codes. So this is command window here. This is documentation, which you know as same as MATLAB help, and this is my editor window. So I have written some command already. So let me go to my folder and find out a basic example for you. So this is the Octave file. So now you can also see, if you look carefully to the Octave written files, they are type M files, which you already know M files are associated with MATLAB. Okay, so let's take one example. So suppose I am opening the basic one, m.m. So this is a basic programming. It's pretty simple programming. So if you see, I am generating a discrete sequence X and I am trying to plot that is discrete sequence in between -3 to +4. Okay, that means my signal has x of n is equal to this value, where n is ranging from -3 to +4. Now suppose I want to run only this part of the command. Okay, so I will select. If you want to run the whole program, you can press here this position, save file and run, or like MATLAB you can always press the F5 button. Else suppose I want to just run this part of the code where it will show my x of n sequence, so I will choose this part, right click, run selection, or choose the part, press F9. Right, once I run the selection, now you can see fine, I got a sequence where this y-axis represent my amplitude value, which is stored in the vector x, and this shows my time index. The x-axis shows my time index, which is stored in the variable n. Right, so you can put x label and y label, so you know that so x label is suppose time in seconds. Similarly, you can put y label into it, y label amplitude, title. So title will be a string, again title sample discrete sequence. So now again I will choose this part, and if I run it, again same thing, run selection. So now you can see that I can able to use the same commands which I have used in MATLAB. Okay, so suppose there will be doing another very simple program where we are going to find out how to generate a how to generate a unit sample sequence, or unit samples can be unit impulse, ramp, or anything, but the program is going to be same. Now this is n equal to 0, n1 is -5, n2 +5, so my range is from -5 to +5. K is the shifting parameter, so this is my shifted value, shifting parameter. This is my shifting parameter. So first this line will give me my u of n, or unit sample sequence. So basically the logic is if n minus n naught is greater than or equal to 0, that so this is a logical operator. You know that if it is true, it is going to throw me in 1, if it is false, it is going to throw me in 0. So obviously I know my unit step is going to be a combination of zeros and ones. So this is my so all the values which is less than 0 is going to give me a 0, and all the values which is greater than 0 is going to give me a 1. So that's how I am going to generate a unit step sequence. Same thing, same questions. So if I am to shift the unit sequence by 2 factor, then I just have to simply replace this n naught, right, this n naught with some k parameter, that is 2 here I have taken. So now if I run this program for you, if I run the command, so run selection, again I am using the run selection command. Now you can see that obviously this, if you look carefully, so my range is from -5 to, so this is my starting point, -5 to +5 till here. Now initially I have 0 to +5, okay, before that it is going to be 0. Next my sequence got shifted by a factor, so it is my 0 value is now shifted to 2. So this is my new sequence, right, a new shifted unit sample sequence or unit step sequence, right. Similarly you can generate something called discrete sinusoidal. N is equal to 0 to 50, x1 is equal to 2 sine 2 pi fn, right. So here 0.05 pi n I have taken, right, a very smaller frequency, so that I can visualize it properly. So I can again run selection. so I will get a beautiful sinusoidal wave, right? No, it's not so beautiful, so I need to increase my frequencies or number of sample size. So suppose I am increasing into 0.5, and let's see whether I am getting my output or not. So yes, I am getting a sinusoidal, but number of samples are less, so you are not able to visualize it. Again, let's increase the number of sample size. So let's run it again. Yeah, it is very close, right? How I am going to understand this is a sine wave or not? So let's elongate the frequency. So let's make it pi n and see how this works out for us. Why it got damped? Anybody has it this thing? Because of this damping factor 2. Let me remove my damping factor 2 from here. So suppose I am taking some pi by 4, so 0.25 into pi. Then let's run it out. Run selection. So yeah, so as it is a discrete plot, it's difficult to visualize as a sine wave. So if you do the plotting here, over here, then you can easily visualize that this is nothing but a sinusoidal wave, very closely spaced sinusoidal. If you enlarge it, you can visualize this is a sinusoidal wave. Okay, so suppose I am decreasing the fact 100, and now running the selection. Now you can, I think you will get a beautiful sine curve. Yeah, right. But if you discretize it, so suppose I am using stem command to discretize it. So I am using stem command to discretize it. I am running the selection. Now you can see this is not so, but you can understand that this is our sinusoidal wave. The maximum value can go between -1 to +1. Okay, that's all about our basic octave. Now let's move to our programming, which we have to understand today. So let's see. I want to design an FIR filter. Okay, suppose we want to design a FIR filter with certain frequencies. So let's take if you remember your DSP classes, you have studied FIR filter using window method. So let's take one example from your books, right? Or let's take the example of the questions you have got in your exam. Want to so suppose I want to generate a FIR filter with cutoff frequency equal to 0.25 into pi, or let it be pi by 4, and I have a filter length given to me. Suppose n is equal to 31, and given window. And another beautiful thing in Octave, octane hash can also be used as a commenting tool. So window given, suppose a rectangular window, the common window, rectangular window. Okay, so this is what given to us. So have already written the code, but again I have writing for you. So CLC clear all closure, that we know. So n is given to me as 50, so I will take 30 because by default when I have going to use the command, the Octave has a little naggy over here where the window function has to come with the n plus 1 option. So suppose I have used to 31, then I have to put n equal to 30 so that I can write here n plus 1, that is 31. Okay, now suppose, so you know that FIR filters are mostly all zero filters. So FIR filters are, you know that FIR filters are all zero filters. So they come in a format h of z is equal to b0 plus b1 z to the power minus 1 plus b2 z to the power minus 2 and so on, right? So here b and b2 are the coefficients, and which is exactly what we used to design to find out this b2, b1 and b3. So that's our aim. So there is a ready-made command available to find out what is this b1 if this is the criteria. So suppose that command is called FIR1. So this b is going to give me a vector of coefficient b0, b1, and obviously the first value is usually 1 or some value, depending on the, if it is a rectangular window it is mostly 1 or multiple of that values, right? So suppose n is, we have taken n is the value of number of length, and this is 0.25 pi, that is my cutoff frequency. Then I have to design a FIR low pass filter. Okay, sorry, low pass filter. So I have to write low. Okay, and suppose I want to use the rectangular window. So rect will give me my rectangular window. Now rectangular window n plus 1. Now this command will plot the phase and magnitude spectrum, right? This command will plot my phasor magnitude spectrum. Okay, so this is very simple code. This line of code will design a filter, FIR filter for us, right? So suppose I run the selection over here. Great, we have seen. Now we design the filter. So we have taken our frequency is how much, 0.25 into pi, that is pi by 4. Exactly what the value of pi by 4 usually comes. You know that pi by 4 value is how much. So if you write 0.25 into pi here, calculate. So this value is 0.78504. So now if you look carefully to this figure, this is a low pass filter. So here the cutoff frequency at this location, if I am putting my here my cutoff location, this one, you can see here in below the value is usually how much, 7. You can see the below of the graph, where the corner of the graph, this value is getting changed. So this is around 7.8.78, so which is nothing but my pi by 4 value. So this is my frequency. So now suppose I want to I just want pi by 4, so I can simply replace 0.25, right? So 1/4 of the 1 Hz frequency. Now if I run this program for you, so you can see I will obviously going to get a cutoff at pi by 4, okay, at 0.25. So this is my cutoff region. So it is 0.2497 something like that. So near about 0.25. Right, now this is, you know that this is called passband and this is called stopband. This is passband ripple, this is stopband ripple, right? So how to decrease passband and stopband ripple? If you increase the number of n values, so suppose in place of 30 I have taken 100, right? That means I will going to design a 101 length filter. Now if I run this one, run selection, So obviously you can see that my ripples got decreased. I have a flat in passband, right? Similarly, if you change, so suppose in question you got that in place of rectangular window you have to design using, you want to design using a triangular window. So okay, triangular window is nothing but Bartlett's window. So Bartlett, so I'll take Bartlett, and this is beautiful thing in Octave that if you write write one command, it started to give you the suggestions which is not available in MATLAB, right? So now suppose I have used Bartlett's window. So if you want to run whole the code, please press F5 or go to this Excel like symbol where you can run it. I am just using this because my codes are changing frequently, so I am using run selection command, right? Now you can see one interesting thing we found out that rectangular window, that we have successfully able to minimize the passband ripple here, but still there is lot of frequency leakage opportunities are available because this spectrum is now open, so I don't have a sharp cutoff here, right? So this is okay, this is phase response, so we are not much bothered about this phase response, rather we are much bothered about this frequency response or magnitude response, which is very important for us. Okay, now suppose I want to use something other window. So you have studied about Hamming window and Henning window. So suppose I want to use Han window, right? So I have put Han window, then again I run the same code. So every window has a different criteria, and you will understand how this is one window is different from another, right? Now here we can see that I have a beautiful figure, right? Minimized cutoff and window and everything, but again the same problem exists. So it depends, once you practice which window for a practical use and which window to use for practical purposes, it will come automatically to you. So now suppose you are given a question to design a high pass filter, right? So suppose you have given a question to design a high pass filter. So suppose you have given to design a high pass FIR filter, high pass FIR filter again. So this is nothing new, it's again very simple. So you just take the same command, right? I am just using same thing, high pass filter with a frequency cutoff of 0.25, right? What you have to do, you just have to change this argument over here. You just have to change argument over here to high, right? So again, and then frequency. So I use frequency here, V1. Okay, sorry, another. Now again I will select this thing and run it. So now you can see that I am going to get exactly that. This is my high pass filter, because we know that it will block all the low pass sequences. So whatever the sequence frequency below 0.25, it is going to block it from 0 to 0.25 pi, and it will start allowing anything above that, right? That is the beauty of high pass filter. Now again, this is very beautiful thing. Now if you want to change, right, if you want to change it to a band pass filter, okay, so suppose I want to get a band pass filter. So suppose B2 is equal to a band pass filter. Now we know that band pass filters usually have two frequencies, okay? So one is upper cutoff, one is lower cutoff. So suppose 0.25 and 0.45. So there you have to give the limit like this in between a vector format, 0.25 and 0.45, and here you have to pass the argument, that is, and exactly this command will run on MATLAB. Okay, don't worry, don't bother. If you are having MATLAB, just use this command, or if you don't have MATLAB, this is Octave, right? So you can write the same command using MATLAB, you can write the same command using Octave, no worry in that, right? So you just have to pass the argument called pass, PASS. Okay, now suppose I am changing a window. So suppose I need a Hamming window, so I'll just write Hamming. Okay, Hamming window. So then again frequency command to view my magnitude and phase response. Now again run selection, again and again. If you want to run the whole code, just press F5. I don't want the whole code to be run, so I am just pressing. Now you can see exactly I am getting a band pass between 0.25 and 0.45, right? This is my band, so this is band pass. So similarly you can pass something called band stop frequencies. Again, we know that. So suppose I passed band stop frequencies, band stop filters or band reject filter, right? Again, you can know that it is going to reject in between 0.25 to 0.45 and pass every frequency out. So this is my band reject filter. Okay, so just what, or band stop filter. So you just have to parse. So there is 4 key arguments for each filter. So suppose it is low pass filter, the key argument will go to low. Now if it is high pass, the key argument will go high. Okay, the key argument will go high. Everything is small. Okay, high. So similarly, if you want to design a low pass, high pass and band pass, so the argument is pass. Pass means band pass. And if you want to design a band stop or band reject, the argument is stop. Okay, so that's all about our FIR filter. Okay, so you can design any FIR filter, whether low pass, high pass question, by using the simple thing. Now suppose you want to implement this example, right? You want to filter out something. Okay, you want to filter a signal using this thing. So suppose, let's take me one example over here. So here I have designed the filter. So here I am generating a sinusoidal wave. The process is going to same for all the filters, whatever to question. So suppose I am generating a sinusoidal signal over here, right? So this will obviously going to give me my what? This is going to give me my low pass filter using rectangular window. Okay, so where my this thing is point. So suppose this is my rectangular window. This is going to give me my low pass filter, right? Correct. Now suppose I am designing a sequence, right? This is a sinusoidal, discrete sinusoidal, so which is have frequency 100 Hz. So I have a sampling frequency of 800. So 200 divided by 1 by 4 pi. So pi by 4, right? Again, this will come to picture. So now this is my x of n sequence, right? Original sequence. Now I have added some random noise to this x of n, right? So I want to find out what is the frequency. I want to filter out the noisy sinusoidal signal. So if I run this part of the code, so this is nothing but, it's pretty interesting one. Now if I run, you can see that this is my original sinusoidal, unadulterated, not noisy. Now I have added some noise sinusoidal. So I know that my frequency is here is going to pi by 4, right? So here also the frequency is going to be pi by 4, but this is not filtered outcome, right? So let's see now what I will do. Now I am going to apply my filter, right? So forget about this, is not required, forget about. Now suppose I want to apply my filter. So I am created a filter object called f1, apply, take the command called filter. It is same as MATLAB filter, which you have used in experiment number 2 or 3, probably 3 probably. So filter command, 2 probably. So filter, then use b, that is my filter object which we have designed already. So basically filter comes with a 3 argument or 4 argument options. So filter b comma a. B stands for your 0 part, a stands for your pole part, or numerator and denominator part of the filter. So b, so as we know that FIR filters are all 0 filters, so denominator is going to be 1 and my sequence, right? So I will run the program here. So I will run over here, run selection on signal. Then my aim is to find out whether I am going to get my sequence or not. Exactly. Now if I see the prominent peak, right, you can see that is go to below of the figure, that is 0.25. So the prominent peak will give me my frequencies as we have discussed in Fourier transform also, right? So I am able to extract my So if you plot this f1 value, now suppose you want to see, right? So suppose if you plot this thing, if you plot using n comma f1, so f1 is my filtered output. So now if I am plotting this thing, so f1 is the filtered outcome of Rn. Rn is nothing but the noisy sinusoidal. So now suppose I am running this signal, so now you can see there is a lot of decrease in the noise compared to what you have this in our initial noisy signal in Rn. Maybe there is a distortion in amplitude happen, which can be then minimized using smoothing circuits and everything, which is part of the communication system. So here we are only bothered about more filter applications. Okay, so this is how you are going to apply the filter on a practical scenario. So this is your FIR filter and its application. Same thing is applicable to IR filter also. So let me go to, so suppose I want to generate an IIR filter. So I know that IIR filter, let me increase. So IIR filter, so IIR filter will have the H of Z will have both B by A, both numerator or zero function. So something will come like suppose B naught plus B1 Z to the power minus 1 whole divided by A0 plus A1 Z to the power minus 1 plus A2 Z to the power minus 2, in this form, right? These things can go like this, in this form. That is our H of Z on IR filter. Both poles and zeros are present. So in that case you have to design or you have to find out both the coefficients, numerator coefficient as well as the denominator coefficient. So for that case, to do that, what we have to do, there is three methods of IIR filter design we have already studied, and there is three type of IIR filters, right? So what are those three types? There is many more, but these are the more prominent. So one is called Butterworth Butterworth IIR filter, and another is called Chebyshev IIR filter. So these are two prominent IIR filters, and again Chebyshev is divided into two parts: Chebyshev 1 and Chebyshev 2. So there is two type of Chebyshev filter. Chebyshev IIR filters are existing, that is Chebyshev type 1 and Chebyshev type 2 filters. So how to design, and okay, so once you design the filter, you can apply using filter command to on any sequence to get your desired output. So main thing is to design the filter. So suppose I want to design a Chebyshev type 2 filter, right? So the command I have taken, so B1 A1, so this is again B and A, this will represent my numerator, this will represent my denominator. Cheb2 is the command. Cheb2 is the command. Okay. Cheb2 is the command. Then n is the length, right? So you have to give my length n. So suppose n is equal to let 30. Okay. So n is 30. Let. Now by default, if you don't define anything, it is going to be a low pass filter. Okay. By default, it is going to be a low pass filter. Now suppose I want to define something, right? So let's go to documentation and find out what will be the Chebyshev So now let me go to the signal package, and in signal processing package I can search the Chebyshev command, or I can go to internet and search. So let's go to the GNU site. Here you can go to its that is called Octave help, Octave SourceForge. So this is called Octave SourceForge repository, where I can search anything. octave sourceforce.io. You can go and do the installations. I can go to the support and help package everything for octave, right? So suppose I want to search in octave sourceforge, I want to search Chevisep. Now if I'm teaching you this kind of thing, this code searching and everything is very important whenever you are preparing for something, for some exams, because you must know how to Google, right? So you should have a knack over or edge over other people, normal people, do a search operation. That is important. Now again, so it has okay, Chevisep 1 or 2, the command remains same. So B and A, N, RP, WC. So RP is called passband ripple factor, right? So passband ripple factor. So this is generally taken, if you don't take it, is usually taken as 80 dB. So you can take 40 dB also, not WC is low pass cutoff frequency, right? So if I am writing 0.25, that means pi by 4, right? Now if I want to design a high pass, then I have to define, so N, RP, WC, then high. If I want to design a band pass, N, RP, in place of WC, we know that I have to define cutoff 1 and cutoff 2. Then for band pass filters, right, you just define W1, W2. By default it will take band pass, else you can take a quote and define. Then similarly, right, so these four going to apply for Chevisep and Chevisep 1 and Chevisep 2. Okay, so suppose now suppose I am using Chevisep, N value is 30, 80 is my RP value, that is passband ripple. So suppose 80 dB is very less, so I am taking the highest possible whatever is available, so 80 dB. So 0.25 pi, right, 0.25 pi. So by default it is low. If I am going to write it a low, so suppose let's show to you. So if I am running this selection, now you can see this is basically a low pass filter with 0.25 sorry 0.78 around cutoff frequency. So let me change it to 0.25. By default it is going to take it as 0.255. Okay, now if you see, so you can see there is a high jump in this thing. So let's decrease my this value. So suppose I am taking it to 0 passband ripple, there is no ripple in the system. Again, so for our case or something, my Chevisep is not performing better, right? So I am getting this thing, so probably I should increase the number of N value, or so suppose I am making it 31, and let's see. So there is thing in IIR, sorry, run on selection. Now one thing you can see, if I am just increasing 31, in odd number index has a better added advantage compared to even index in IIR filters. But the thing with IIR is that there is a high passband ripple, so you have to do hit and trial how to mitigate whatever the values I can give, and so that my passband can go. So suppose minus 80 dB, minus 10. Very interesting things going to come. Beautiful. The passband gain increased much more. Okay. So you have to do a hit and trial and see what are the passband and everything, or you can change. So suppose I want to design a Chevisep 1 filter. So Chevisep 1. So I have given the maximum possible passband, it is 80. So let it increase to 100 also. why it is taking high passes. So Chebyshev 1 is not at all performing better, so let's take a by default value. Again by default 80, I know that, so the same is showing. Okay, so you have to do what you call hit and trial to find out which one suit your profile. So this is Chebyshev type 1, Chebyshev type 2. The functionality is this thing, you don't have to bother, you have to just. So next is Butterworth filter. For Butterworth filter the command is butter, right? So now if I run this code, so I think I have to give a pi, then only it will work in a better way. Yes, so I have to give a pi value, then only I will get a better response compared to my other value. So this is your IIR filter. So you know that IIR filter has their own disadvantages. And what is the B1 and B2 value? You can always go to command window and type 1. So this is where B1 and B2 values, right? B1 and B2 values. So you can see my so A1 is my denominator value, A2 is my numerator value, B1 is my numerator value. Now you can see this filter is not going to be a stable filter, because you can see the coefficients are very high, 17, 153. So IIR filter has their own disadvantage. So designing a stable IIR filter requires again those methods, approximate derivative and all those methods to come to game and come to play. Okay, so you have to be very careful while designing this. So next we are going to our next experiment, which is upsampling and downsampling, right? So we know that upsampling and downsampling are very interesting applications. So suppose you have to do x, you have a x of n, right? So suppose you have a x of n, so suppose I have a x of n which is equal to, let 1 2 3 comma 4. This is a sequence, it's a discrete sequence. Now we know that, so when you perform upsampling, so it is basically x of n by 2 or n by 4, whatever the integer factor comes with. So that if time index got divided by integer factor, that is called upsampling or interpolation, right? So upsampling or interpolation, that's what is our consideration. So for that, what do you have to do? Now if you do n by 2, so you know that this is nothing but 0 appending in between, 0 appending in between the sequences, that will result in the increase in the number of samples. So we have initial 4 samples, now we have 8 samples in the sequence. Now if you do downsampling, right, that means you have to multiply some integer factor with the time index itself. So you know that it is going to decrease my time in sample, so it will only take the sample. So as 2 is multiplied, it is going to take only those samples which is divisible by 2. So this is 0, so first sample is divisible by 2, so I will take 1. So because, right, we know that. Okay, so let me write, this is here the n equal to time index is 0 1 2 3, right? So x of 0 is 1, x of 1 is 2, x of 2 is 3, x of 3 is 4. So now x of 2n, so if I put in place of n, if I put 0 x of 0, so it will take the value of first point, that is 1. If I to put n equal to 1, that is x of 2, this will take this value, so it will discard this value and this value. So my new sequence is 1 and 3, which is downsampled version. So the number of samples in x of 2n is nothing but equal to 2. Okay, so that is basic concept of upsampling, downsampling, so which is known as sampling rate converter, or this is also known as what it is called time index scaling or index scaling. So here also we are going to do the same thing. So all these things whatever written, it is decorating the plot, nothing else. Our code part is only these 4 lines, this 3 and another 1 line over here, right? This is the 4 total code part. Everything here written is just to make the plotting more decorative and everything. So t is equal to 0 to 1. In between 0 to 1 I have chosen 1 by 1, 1 divided by 1000, so that means 1000 samples between 0 to 1. Now x is equal to a sinusoidal signal. X is a sinusoidal signal which contains 2 different frequencies, one is 30 Hz, another is 60 Hz, right? Sin 2 pi ft, sin 2 pi f1t plus sin 2 pi f22, right? That is my understanding of this thing. Now I am going to upsample the signal by a factor 4, right? So for upsampling you can use either upsampling command or you can use the interrupt command. I prefer interrupt over upsampling, right? Because interrupt is called the interpolation of the sequence. So interrupt. So now suppose this is interpolation of the sequence. Next, this is my decimate. Again I will decimate the signal by a factor 4. So let's see, this is a 4 line of code. Now let's say I am running the whole code so that you can understand. So okay, this will come to pick it, come to topic, so you will do art directly to the path. Now you can see this is a very interesting graph comes to picture. Now you can see my graph number 1, which is original sequence. I have taken from those 1000 samples. I have for interpolation, to show you interpolation. Interpolation means increase in the number of samples, so I have chosen less number of samples, so 0 to 30. Now how much factor is the upsampling? Factor was interrupt x comma 4, that is 4 factor. So this sample size has to increase 4-fold, and you can see this is 120 number of samples. Simple thing. Then same thing come to the picture for original sequences, right? Again this original sequence is the same x of n whatever I have taken here. Here I have taken 30 samples, but here I have taken 120 samples. To show you the decimation, the sampling rate is going to decrease. Now you can, if you look carefully to this sequence, here the number of samples is decreased by a factor 4. So 120 divided by 30, which is equal 4, which is equal to 30. So this is your upsampling and downsampling examples, right? So that's all for today's lesson and everything. Thank you for patience listening.